I'm Solar Luxon, and this is Tarot card 2 of Pentacles. Chokma of He. Because in Sacred Tarot, the 4 twos, the deuces of the 37 deacons, speak to us of the king and queen's initial powers before the generative act. That is the initial unified movement before the knights and pages, or you might know them as the princesses and princes, are brought into being or brought into power by the king and queen. Think beginning. Or even better, think first initiations, first presentation. When a 2 lingers on the fingertips, specifically we look to the Lord of harmonious change. So it's not that change is chaos, even though change is movement. All movement is harmony, and therefore this too is the Lord of harmonious change, which reigns Jupiter in Capricorn from the 1st to the 10th degree. Note the 2 wheels caught up being spun in infinite movement. A lot of people call this the juggler card, the balancing act. They'll tell you it has something to do with managing your time well or sudden changes in financial status. No. The golden discs of ancient occult mystery aren't haphazardly being tossed in the air by someone unskilled here. And the dance of infinites cares little for your supposed time management skills, for better or poorer. It's a blink of an eye, not even a blink. These are illuminated spheres held together, united. Remember, 2's unity of king and queen. So united by what seems to be this very vegetative or green cord of perfectly harmonized movement, at least a tracing of that vibratory path or pattern. In some decks, this green cord becomes an even more obvious, symbolic, very upfront presentation and is displayed outright as a great serpent or a vine eating itself or continuing upon itself. Again, always displayed in the ancient infinites or figure 8 of some kind or another. The individual displaying the ability to hold this profound revolving movement is doing so lightly on one foot, isn't out of control or wobbly in any way or clowning or aping an act. This is a skilled holder of infinite balance who seems to have effortless control of the dynamism of the whole. The only constant is change, right? Move back into Hermeticism here a little bit. Everything moves. You're talking about Hermes Trismegistus. There is great harmony in the principle of everything moves, everything vibrates. But there can also be, in its most manifested material forms, for us here on Earth, great discontent with ever remaining in true balance. We are and we will always be made to be, and we don't always like that process. All things alternate, and as we seek our path through life, that spiral path, and come back to ourselves again and again, we travel those lessons which are going to vacillate between our strengths and weaknesses, between wealth and poverty or impoverishment, between sitting still and wandering restlessly or otherwise, between losses and gains, travel and rest, joy and sorrow, between being steadfast and being capricious, between being noble or base in our character and actions. No one's perfect all the time. This is how we evolve. Sometimes we are responsible and reliable, and then sometimes even the most responsible, reliable person is going to be a little less so. They're going to be reckless or a little bit foolish. Sometimes we linger in silent meditative repose. Sometimes we talk a lot, very quickly and constantly, as if we could never talk enough. Such is the journey of learning and applying balance in life in a positive position when you see The Two of Coins, the Two of Pentacles, of those vibrant, sacred, illuminated stars. Things are likely well managed. A balance has been struck. Maintain it, right? So continue to go on, go with the flow. It's best when riding the ups and downs of variant waves, right? When you are on shifting ground, when you are faced with options or choices that appear to reside at different extremes, to first, stay calm. Sometimes things get overwhelming. Sometimes it's about to spin out of control. If you breathe, if you stay calm, you're going to then choose how to behave and act rather than react. That's just basic occult knowledge and always a good idea. Stay calm and then balance your choices by initial response. Remember, initiation card, first primary response. Look to priorities. Look to what matters most first and take care of that. If you are on one of these boats in this background, suddenly struck by these very tumultuous seas, and you're that captain and food is falling overboard, men don't know what to do and you need to give them commands. The winds are blowing fast and a sail might rip. And also you've just been suddenly blown off course. If you have all of these things in your head and you're trying to make a choice, prioritize. Not all the food is going overboard yet. Don't worry about that. We can handle it in a minute. The men do need commands, but I can't give them commands until I can think about what commands I need to give them. If a sail rips free, that's unfortunate. Is that the first thing I need to do, or do I need to take command of the wheel, right? Do I need to chart course first? And once I know that the next wave isn't going to hit us sideways and destroy the vessel, once I've prioritized that and charted the course to ride out these tumultuous seas, now I can give the command for somebody to come take that wheel from me so that I can go and tell 3 other people to help me get the sail down. And while that's being done, other people can start making sure things aren't blowing overboard, like the food. So again, calmness, prioritize. Look to what matters most first. And you likely already are, and doing it well. Remember to remain calm and continue being adaptive. Remember that what you're trying to do is initiate the rhythm of response in this way as often as possible, because you're creating and maintaining unified harmony that already exists on the material plane. The harmony's already there. You're just trying to get in step with them. People talk about this supposed, clown of a juggler being foolish. He isn't, friends. The Fool of the Tarot is divinely, naively foolish. That's the Fool card. This very skilled holder of infinite balance is far from foolish, despite his bright, lively, active orange garb, that initiation, that movement, that energy color. Look to the angels residing over the sacred too, right? Let the correspondences of the ancient mystery be the profound set of navigation tools for you to come to your own understanding of the symbols involved here and what they mean and how they can be best applied. So rather than just being like, this is a fool, this is a juggler, things might go out of control. No. The 72 angels of God were primarily evolved from, help me to pronounce this in a way that is not completely insulting to everyone who's ever read the Talmud in its original form, but evolved from the Shem HaMeforesh. So Shem HaMeforesh, the explicit name of God, that in early Kabbalah, this term which was used to designate the 72-letter name from God from which all the angels are then derived. And here in the Two of Pentacles in the Tarot, this is where Lekabal, and Visaria or Visaria reside here. So in Lekabal, you have the acquisition of knowledge, Again, agriculture, green, vegetation governs all those things. Loves astronomy, the movement of the planets and stars, mathematics, and geometry. So, not just math, but analytical spatial maths. And then Visaria, against people who would attack, against, especially in realms of justice. So, presides over actually governing justice, good memory, and articulations. So here you have someone who's incredibly good at math, which the occult is more willing to acknowledge than most. You're going to derive the most possible universal constants or language from math and its sacred beauties. And then articulation and the ability to remember, and then apply, knowledge and gather it up, and then all of these things balance. That's not a clown or a fool or someone who's just putting on a juggling act. It absolutely isn't. That's someone who sees and holds the infinite mentally and can reside, usefully with it, present it. In the reversal. So anyway, again, what to do here? You're likely doing fine already. You're managing things well, if that's what the reading you're going for. If you want to seek further meditation into this card, it is a very deep and reflective card. And I hope I've given you some guideposts to do that. In the reversal, when we look at the Two of Pentacles reversed, we see the positives then mostly negated or tossed on their heads. So loss of balance, disorganization, yes, being overwhelmed. Possibly finances, if that's what you're focused on, sure, those could be out of control. Poor decision making is very likely. Not striking a harmony in home and work, or in things like intimate versus formal relationships. You're not balancing those correctly, possibly. Chaos. You might need to reprioritize, right? If the presentation of the card upright and its positive aspects speaks to prioritizing, initiation, then you might be lacking that here in the reversal. Something's definitely out of balance, a lack of organization, being maybe a little bit out of control, not being light on your feet or adaptable, not being this very skilled person that makes it all look so easy the way an expert would, having no backup plan for when things unexpectedly take a turn. So what to do with this reversal? Well, it's time to begin getting experienced with the concept of not seeking control, not by trying to hold on to everything all at once so hard things are just flying out of your grasp. But instead, gaining that control by not trying to, by simply riding the waves up and down as they present themselves. If you have become overwhelmed or fallen prey to sudden chaos or change in the landscape, whatever landscape, emotional, financial, perhaps you created the chaos yourself by an errant or out-of-step decision. You weren't quite in the flow. You weren't on your game. Fine. Let it go. Maybe set something aside. Maybe there is too much. Do what you can. And while you're simply doing what you can, respect that that's all you can do. Lighten your touch. Lighten that stranglehold. Open your palm, right? Stop with the grasping and the control. Relax. Let it go a bit. It's going to do what it's going to do just fine. Whether or not you can get back in step and rhythm with it is the question. So if you just lighten that hold, lighten your touch, and then watch and learn to see how it moves, right? Let the next necessary action present itself to you in due course as it will, rather than trying to force it or judging yourself for not being able to force universal infinite law, right? You can't always force things to be as intended, and there's no reason to emotionally harrow oneself because of it. Infinite has its own intentions, and everything happens as it's meant to. So if things are overwhelming, back off. Back off and be grateful for the opportunity to learn from sudden high and low seas and to ride those waves joyfully, gracefully, by not trying to fight them. Until next time.